We have a special guest today on the For the Win podcast. The man, the myth, the legend. He has found the one ring, and he was not consumed by it, but he conquered. And he threw it into the fires of Mount Doom, so to speak, metaphorically. We are excited to have him. He's going to share his story about the one ring. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Brook. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate
Awesome.
you being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. We appreciate it. So the people want to know, and I'm sure you've told this story many times, but walk us through that day. You wake up in the morning and you open your eyes, and to your knowledge, you don't know that you're about to pull the one ring from a booster pack. Talk us through, what did your day look like up until that moment?
Honestly, I was supposed to work that day, and I woke up early. I wasn't, I called in sick to work that day. And originally I had plans to go Saturday to pick it up. And I was like, you know what? I called in, the store doesn't open for a little while. I can make it there just as it opens. And, the pre-orders were sold out everywhere. And I thought, if I go in there the day it opens, like they'll probably have a case for sale. And sure enough, I got there, like before it opened, I was the first one in line. And as soon as it opened, I was the first one to the counter. Sure enough, they had two extra boxes, or well, they had eight extra boxes, and I got two of them. And the ring was in one of those ones. I took them home. I opened them there.
Wow.
The first box of the two didn't have it. The second one, it was like halfway through, and it was wild. Like it wasn't even in the rare slot. It was in the common slot. Like I almost went through it. Like I already went through a whole box, so I was like, oh, like I'll just skim through the commons. I know which ones are good. And like I went past it and I seen, I'm like, that, the border is kind of weird. So I looked at it and I'm like, oh my Lord. Like it says one of one, and it's such a beautiful card. Like as soon as you see it, like and fully get a look from like head to toe, like it's, it's special, and
Yeah.
like that's one of a kind. So instinctively I had a sleeve with me, but I'm like, okay, I got to take a picture before it goes in the sleeve, and then once, like when it goes in. So once it was in it, that's where the video came out, and that was just that shakiness was just the adrenaline through my body. Like I knew about the bounties beforehand, so I knew like there's at least $1 million from like David Adams for this and that. I'm like, oh my Lord, like it's crazy.
That's amazing.
Right after, I had all that moment, like I was in disbelief. So I was like, there's no way this could be real. Like the one card in the whole world, and I pulled it, pre-release day, like
Yeah.
within minutes of it being for sale. So I took some pictures, I sent it to like some friends and family. I'm like, okay, like, am I crazy? Like, is this it? And I sent them the link to David Adams and all this stuff. And, you know, what the first piece of advice I got was like, go put it somewhere safe. Like you can't hold on to it. You can't leave it in your apartment. Put it,
Keep
put
it
it away.
secret. Keep it
Yeah.
safe.
So, I went to a bank, put it away. Um, I even called, like, I got it from face-to-face games in Toronto. I called them immediately after and I said, I pulled the ring. Like, how can I And like, I didn't even get the sentence out, and they hung up on me. I'm like, they thought I was pranking them. It's like, this is ridiculous. So I called him back.
That's crazy.
I called him right back, and I'm like, listen, I understand. Like, it sounds crazy, but this is legit. Like, I need an email or something I can text like pictures and video to. So, I go to
Yeah.
the bank. I tried to contact everyone. As I'm coming out of the bank, David Adams calls me back. Same with face to face. But then I ended up talking to David Adams. We had like a video meeting and stuff like that. And, they were amazing. Like they were, such good people. They, heard about my story. I'm just a retail worker, living paycheck to paycheck. They're like, there's other offers out there. And, this could totally change your life. And if you can find something else, then go ahead. But, our offer's still here if you can't find anything else. And, they were amazing. So the very next day, I talked to my cousin. He got me in touch with my lawyer, Jessica. And, even that was strange because, I'm calling, someone I don't know. And I'm like, hey, here's a
Yeah.
website and there's this card worth $1 million. I have it. So I need your help. And, and she just
That's
had to
so
trust me,
crazy.
and then, she introduced me to Carly from the Notable Group, and she helped me with, the sale of the card, like finding a buyer and, making sure we do everything safely. And yeah, when I first met with them, they asked me like, "What's the dream? Like, what is the best outcome you can see of this?" And my my first reaction was, if I could meet or sell this to Post Malone, like that's it. That's the dream. And they smiled and they're like, "Yeah, that's really good, but you're an adult, so we got to think about the long term and stuff like that." Because like at that point, I'm like, if he offered what David Adams would, I would have been okay with it. But they're like, think about your future and everything, and so as time went on, like that kind of was off the table. Like it wasn't during. So I met Post Malone in that video. Everything happened on Thursday, July 20th. It was gonna go somewhere else. Like we were ready to sign papers, like, and the sale was gonna be final before that. And you know, I got a phone call that Thursday. I was at work, and Carly calls me. She's like, "You need to leave work. You need to bring the card. We're gonna go see and meet Post Malone, like before like anything happens, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy. Like, he'll get to see it. We'll take pictures, and then at least he gets to
Yeah.
appreciate it, right?" So we go there.
True,
We had
true.
to like sneak the card into the concert, and it was crazy. Like I was told beforehand, like this might be 30 seconds, it might be a minute. Like you know, meet him, say
Right.
hello, like shake hands, take pictures with the card, put it away. Like don't let anyone see you because I was still anonymous at the time, and just try. Like it's gonna be quick, and it's just that's it. But that's not how it went down. Like we went in there and he was so excited when he seen it. He's just like holding it up and looking at it and we started talking about magic. We started talking like, he asked me like, tell me about yourself and stuff like that. And he asked what the current bid was. And we told him. Then his next question was, what's your commander? And I look at Carly and I look at Post Malone, and I had snuck that into the concert too. So I'm like, I brought it with me. Do you want to see it? And he's like, yeah, like excited to see it. So
Yes.
I handed over, and it was my Cranko deck. And as soon as he saw the commander, he goes, yes. And I was like, what? He's like, I'll take the ring. Like I will buy the ring. And you know, it, that that's where the video came from. It's just how it happened. It wasn't even supposed to happen.
That's
It just,
awesome.
we took a chance and went out there, and things just went amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's a good thing he didn't hate goblin decks
Oh, I
because
know. I
he would
know.
like, oh, you're a mono red goblin deck. Like, no way, dude.
Oh yeah.
Get out of here.
It was
Oh,
no, he was so excited. He went through every single card in my commander deck. Like we
wow.
sat there and he's like, "Oh, this card is awesome." And, "Oh, this one's wild." And we started talking magic, he's talking
Yeah.
about a deck he's trying to make, and it was amazing. Like it was a really good experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, just hearing your story, like, I just have the biggest smile on my face. Like, it's just so exciting for you. And, like, never in a million years, like, I've opened who knows how many booster packs, but, like, needing to call a lawyer and, like, go to a bank after opening a booster is just, like, mind blowing to me, you know? So, yeah, it's just like, I never thought something like this would happen. Even like when they announced it, like the cynical part of me was like,
is it even real? Like, it's just gonna go to like some influencer or a streamer or something. Like, it's gonna be planted. But just knowing that it's like, oh, it was actually just in the wild, at a local game shop, like that's amazing. That's amazing. So, kudos to Wizards for at least doing that. Like that was cool to see that like follow through there. So, um, yeah. So I guess one of my questions is like, I'm sort of like the resident Magic expert because my brother hasn't really played ever, I don't think. I started playing with Theros and like Born of the Gods. That's when I first got into it. And I moved away from my play group in 2016, so I haven't played paper Magic in a long time, but I'm on Arena like every single day playing Historic Brawl basically is the only
Oh,
thing I
nice.
play now. But um, so my question is, after the sale goes through, what's like the first Magic purchase that you make
It
after that?
it actually was because how crazy like everything was going on. And I usually buy a box of every set. Like I missed like the pre-release and the release date of Commander Masters. So like as soon as I had like a little bit of money in my bank account, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm buying Commander Masters. I want that Jewel Lotus so bad. Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, it didn't change a
that's what I'm
thing,
talking about.
like I still love Magic. I still get excited opening cards, like it, it's just it's so good.
Yeah, no, it really is. I've been trying to explain it to my brother how it's just like the ultimate best like card game like ever. Like nothing even comes close to
Oh,
it. Like so many people have tried to replicate it and like make it their own and tweak it and simplify it or whatever, but it's just like there's nothing like it. And yeah, it's I mean, even just Arena, which is totally different. I've been playing Arena basically since 20. I really got into it like during the pandemic and everything when I was at home. But like, I'm like, oh man, I don't even know if I could like play Paper Magic again. Just like having all the triggers be automatic, and like everything just like happen and not have to count anything or
oh
do any
yeah.
math. And
It
it's just
makes the
like, oh
math
yeah,
easy.
this is
Yeah,
all.
exactly. You don't even count. You're just like, swing away. Like we'll count the counters. It'll figure it out. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Especially when you're playing like
Math is for
Scoot Swarm.
blockers.
You're like Scoot Swarm. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. No, I play a lot of Arena too. Like same thing during the pandemic, you couldn't go out, so I really like drafting. So a lot
Yeah.
of like the quick draft I got really into, and when they bring out new sets and stuff like that, it I like that kind of Magic because you're not trying to, especially when it first comes out, you're not trying to go towards like a meta. Like this is like the best deck and you should have
Right.
all these cards. And it's like, no, it's just you open like the worst rare in the whole set, so you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I like that. I like, it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
makes you creative.
Yeah. If Post Malone says, "Hey, this is amazing. I love you, man. Like, let's grab dinner sometime, but I don't want to get, the card's not for me. Like give it to the next person. This is awesome." Who was that next person?
I don't think I can say, to be honest. Yeah. Like just for
Okay.
yeah. But it wasn't
That's all right.
I don't know exactly where it would end up, but the whole premise of where it ended up with Post Malone, I think, that was the best outcome. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
ask like, about all the different offers. And especially the one with there was the guy that, had the Kickstarter about throwing it into the fire like a volcano and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and that was, that was legit. He reached out to us and stuff like that. It was, I love the idea. Like I get it, like that whole mentality of staying true to the books and to the movies. But for me, it was like when you seen that card, it's so a lot of time and love went into it, and for them to mesh that into this type of card game and have that serialized one of one and have it mean so much, for the it going to Post Malone and him being such a avid fan of the game, and I can see that, Cardi's gonna have life. Like he's gonna show it off. Like I seen there was a TikTok or something
Yeah.
saying that he was playing a game with Lady Voss, and he needed a treasure token and he used the one of one ring as a treasure token. And I'm like, that's perfect. I'm so glad he did that, like it just makes me happy.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
you know.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So
That's hilarious.
You said Posty was the first person that came to your mind. You're obviously a fan of him and his music. Why? What about him you were like, I gotta get it to him?
like I knew he was a big fan of Magic. Like I know, you could see him and he supports a lot of the MTG community and even just little podcasts and influencers, and you know I could tell that he was a genuine fan, just the way he talks about it and plays with it. Um, Now, again, for that whole aspect of it going to be out public, like I would love for people to see it, to be able to take pictures with it. And, so that was the dream, right? And plus, meeting Post Malone in the first place, that would have been just crazy. And, you know, then
Yeah.
there's the other route, it could go to someone that could just buy it to invest it and, keep it in uh, a safety deposit box for the next 20 years. So out of all those outcomes,
Yeah.
like for it, even if it like wasn't, Post Malone in the long run, and it was just someone else that, would have it available and out for, people to see and the community to appreciate. But Post Malone definitely number one choice. Like I don't know if you've ever seen him play Magic. Like he's real into it. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no denying like he's how much he's done for the community and just like even just bringing awareness to the game.
Yeah.
To have someone that is like that like mainstream or like almost household name status, like A-list celebrity, just to be like full on just like totally into Magic is, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's great. I've seen like some other celebrities into it who are into it. One of our Cassius, who is on a Seattle Seahawks, where we're from locally, seeing like an NFL player just like super into Magic was always like really cool, and it always made me wonder. Yeah,
He's amazing. He actually reached out to me. Like he's so good.
it always made me wonder like how like when you have like that kind of resource to like buy Magic cards and like make decks. That's why I asked like, all right, what's like your first Magic purchase like afterwards?
Yeah.
Like, is it tempting to like go out and like buy some Power Nine or
Like it
yeah,
is, but for me, like, the nostalgia part for me is more like valuable. Like I love, opening packs. Like I remember as a kid, like, saving up like I was remember buying Fallen Empires because it was like the cheapest one, but even like just opening it and seeing that stuff. So I think like my goal, like my kind of like next kind of endeavor would be like just to open a box of every set of Magic cards, and like obviously with
Mm,
like the older pricey stuff, like maybe even just a pack. So like a pack of alpha or a pack of beta, like that would be to me like
yeah,
more valuable than just making like crazy deck kind of thing. You know, I think that'd be
right.
pretty wild.
I looked on TCG Player, and if I what I saw correctly, and I don't know if the actual offer has been made, the number has been made public, but on TCG Player, you could pick up I think every Black Lotus on there on the site if you wanted to.
Realistically, yeah. I looked, I even like shopped around to see who had like, the best condition Black Lotus. But I mean, like, you know, that would be cool and everything like that. But to me, like, just opening packs is just so much more fun, like I said,
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
just
for
sits there. Like it's cool,
yeah,
but it just sits there.
yeah. And yeah, you could use it and like some of your friends let you do it, but that'll be like a game or two, and then they're like, all right, put it away. Like, you know what I mean? I was saying my Cranko deck, like there's some good cards, but it's not like to be over powerful. Like it's maybe a seven. Like I even put like one, I think it was a beta, like the first goblin, it's just like one red and it's a 1/1 goblin. No text, no nothing, just like basic, just for fun,
No
right?
haste.
Yeah, no, just a 1/1 goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I've never been like super into like brewing up new decks. But when I do, I like them to be more thematic than just like OP or the best in slot card or whatever, So yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. I don't remember what I was gonna ask. Oh, I was gonna say when I heard that it had gotten pulled, I was like, one of the first things that went through my head was like when and where did it happen? Because like I could not imagine pulling that like at a card shop like during a draft or something, and then having like who knows how many people there all just like witness it all at the same time, and like knowing that that's like $1 million card, like that would have like freaked me out if that would have happened. But I'm glad you were in the safety like of your own home, because like I don't know, people, I've met some interesting people at Friday Night Magic. So
That's it. Oh, that would have been scary for sure. Like, the amount of safety that, like the steps towards safety, like, it's just a little piece of paper that's again worth $1 million. Like, how easy is that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
I'm assuming you have a group of buddies or some people that you play Magic with.
Yeah.
And what was their reaction when you hit them in the group text and you're like, boys, check this out? When you told them that you got the ring.
I only texted one of them, and I'm like, okay, like it's like my group, I've kind of moved in the last 6 months, so they're kind of like in a different city, like a little bit further outside of
Gotcha.
Toronto. So I'm like, all right, like I still keep in contact with one of them, and I sent it to him, and you know, everything like it was good too, because he like kept it secret. Like there was one person he told, but it was like someone that we worked with that I didn't even know what Willy Wonka was, let alone magic cards. But like he was just excited to like tell the story. Like Brook did something incredible. Like you're gonna see something crazy. And but once the PSA found out, once like everything was released about the PSA, and like it was graded and everything like that, um, you know, I still remained anonymous, but through Carly and the Notable group, we were still able to do interviews. So it was like, hey, anybody with questions, like go through them. So we did like, local news and other things.
Hmm.
And I remember one of the questions was, tell us about yourself. So I told them, 36-year-old retail worker in Toronto, cashier slash forklift driver. And once that started going around, people at work were just like, "Hey, like, did you get some crazy card or something?" And like even people from my old play group at my other store, they're like, "Hey, man, like, congratulations, like, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
You're
Like
a
I had to
cashier
play
slash
dumb. Oh
forklift
yeah,
driver,
oh
and you
yeah,
play Magic. Did you pull that card?
oh yeah. It got to a point that like HR pulled me in the office one day. And this was like, it was funny because, even after the sale, I waited, like, we waited a little while until like, we released all the information. And I had so Thursday was Post Malone, the Friday was my 37th birthday. And, my HR pulls me in the office. They're like, oh, there's rumors going around that you're a millionaire and this and that and so on. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Like, what are you talking about? Where you hear these? She's like, on the news. Like, it said 36-year-old forklift driver, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Well, I'm 37, so I don't know if what you're talking about. Oh yeah, it was just
Oh, that's
it was just
amazing.
wild. Like even my dad, I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell him until like a day or two before like we announced everything on social media and stuff like that. And he even when the PSA was great when it was graded at the PSA and some of the interviews like even went on the radio. Like he was driving home from work and it was on the radio. And he called me. He's just like, "Hey, like,
Wow.
don't buy those Lord of the Ring things anymore. They got the card." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Dad. And at the same time, my brother's calling me, and
Oh my god.
my brother knew that I had the card. Like he was one of the first ones I told. And he calls me right after and he's just like, "Hey, like, did you tell Dad anything?" I'm like, "No, like, I kept it quiet and this and that." He's like, "He's been asking me all day, like, he heard something on the radio." And he's like, "Did Brooke get the card? Did Brooke get the?" And I just, oh, it's wild. It's just wild.
It's amazing. It's just like what it's just such an incredible story to come from like this cardboard card game that we've been playing for years and years. Like I
It,
never would have thought in a million years that this would happen. It's just insane to me. But uh, yeah, it makes me wonder if like they'll ever do anything even close to that again. It's hard
I
to
don't
top,
know.
the one ring, but
It's it's been a journey, I tell you. Like it's something else. Like never in my life, like every step of the way, it was just been something incredible. Like even just like going to get it graded was wild. I didn't have my passport, so I had to hire a security company to like take it for me and still like remain anonymous and everything like that. Like I met some like
wow.
random stranger downtown Toronto, like with my lawyer, like handing it over to him and being like, "Hey, please bring this back." Like,
Oh my
oh yeah,
gosh.
oh yeah. And even like when we picked it up at Pearson Airport, he's like, they're like, "Oh, dress inconspicuous, wear, a hat, sunglasses, so no one can see who you are." Because again, it's just, a piece of cardboard that someone could easily just take from me, right? And the Brad from the PSA, he's from PSA Canada, went with the security guy, and they're texting me. They're like, "Oh, hey, like Brad's still hanging around. I think he wants to like maybe see like if he could spot you, kind of thing. Like I'm trying to lose him and this and that." And I'm like, "Well, meet me in the washroom, right?" And I go in the washroom. I'm standing there. I'm like washing my hands for like 2, 3 minutes, just like nonchalantly waiting for this guy to come in. And he comes in and he just kind of like side eyes me. He like gives me the nod. I give him a wink. And he goes, checks the stalls, comes back. He's like, "All right, it's clear. Like, we got to do this quick. I have to take a picture." So he hands it to me, open up the case, take the picture, stuff it underneath my sweater, put my sunglasses on, and get like the hell out of Pearson Airport. It
Oh
was
my
wild.
gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit towards the financial side, and you can answer whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
But in Canada, what do taxes look like on that sucker? Because
I'm not even sure yet.
you're
I'm
not
not
even sure
sure.
yet?
No. So, I'm doing the right thing and looking into, people to handle the taxing part. The taxes aren't until like the end of the year. So, whatever happens with that and whatever I can share when I do find out, like I'll let everyone know. But as of right now, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to let everyone know. I was just curious.
Yeah.
What have you said? And has it like I've read like tons of articles, videos, blah 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 blah. Is there an actual number for the offer that has been like publicly said? Have you publicly said
Yeah.
this was the amount? What was that?
We sold it for $2 million US.
Okay. So and is that where they get the 2.6 from Canada? Is that Canada
I think
currency?
so. I But to be honest, like when it was first posted, like you just saw people saying like, because we didn't say the number in the video, so people are like 2 and then 2.1 and then 2.3, and it was 2.3 for a little
Yeah.
while. And then it was like 2.45, and then it got to 2.6, and everyone, kind of settled at 2.6. So I don't know if that was it, or if, some people like knew the exchange, but oh yeah, it's wild to see like how quickly something can escalate, like in the game of telephone.
Yeah.
Even like throughout everything. And when I met Post Malone, like he even said, he's like, there's rumors about, he's already bought the card, or he's already made these offers and this and that. Like it's funny. Like to me, I laugh just seeing all these different like stories that start to escalate in different directions.
What's your immediate reaction when whip open your banking app and you see, you're like, oh wow, seven digits, haven't seen that before on my my mobile app, this is insane.
So the way everything panned out with that is I set up another account through my financial advisor. So I haven't set up mobile banking for that yet. And when everything went through, it was a phone call. Like my financial advisor Mark, he called me on a Saturday, and he's like, do you have a second? Like, are you sitting down? And I'm thinking, oh, maybe something went wrong. Like maybe like there was a miscommunication or something. And I'm like, hey, I'm just doing something. I called him right back, and he's just like, I just want to be the first one to tell you that you are now a millionaire. Like everything went through, it's in the bank, and it's here. And oh, I was, I was I was outside. There was like a little park nearby. I went and like sat in the bench, like, and started crying. Like I was like, it was crazy. It was insane. And I didn't like see the numbers. I just, heard it. And, I hung up with him, and actually first he asked me, he's like, can I ask you, like, who did you sell it to? And I'm like, well, I don't think I can release that information. But I'm like, Mark, like you have like all the information in front of you. And he's just like, I don't know. It's just some name. I'm like, Google the name. And
Yeah.
because he doesn't go like that,
Yeah.
Post Malone's a stage name, right? So he Googled it, and he's like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Holy!" And he starts freaking out, and I'm like, "Yeah," like it was crazy. So then, I hang up with
Oh,
him. Like I went out for a big walk in the park and everything like that, and the next day I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't have access. I can't see the number. Like, they'd be so cool. I'm like, Mark, can you send me like a screenshot of it, please? And so I got an email like 2 minutes later. He's like, here's it in American and here's it in Canadian. I'm like, yes. So it was pretty wild.
It seems to me, the vibe that I get is, you're just very grounded, and sometimes people come into this stuff and it can really, right, money is an amplifier, so it can really send them kind of off the rails a little bit. But
Hmm.
straight away, like getting a lawyer, getting a financial advisor, all these things is so cool, and I think it's so good that you did that. And when it comes to this financial piece with your family and friends, I love that you're still working your job. And I read in an article that you have kind of set things up so that you can retire in your 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
But what are some, like, maybe goals and plans you have for the future? You've just had this moment, and once the dust settles, where do you want to see yourself?
Well, like, so for me, first of all, like if I put it all into my bank account, it'll be easy to be like, oh, I'll take some days off and, just go do something, you know, or even on my days off, I'd be, inclined just to be going out and doing something when I'm bored. So I set it up with my financial advisor that we, broke down how much I would need like every month, just to cover my rent and my bills. And that's covered. And then anything I make through work is just, my hobbies and stuff that I can make an investment. So realistically, you know, I could essentially drop down to part-time. It's invested in such a way that with me working part-time, that should be enough to like sustain, just my hobbies and stuff like that. But now if I work full-time, I can put more into investment and other things. So, I could, help other people out, do charities, or just buy more magic cards, right? Like get to that alpha booster pack there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much is a alpha booster pack going for these
Oh, I
days?
don't even want
I
to know.
think I think they're in like the 10K range at
Oh, at
least.
least,
But
yeah.
um, yeah, my next question is just kind of a fun one. But if you were to go up to Posty and you said I want to sell this card for 2 million, um, and he replied with double or nothing, like 1v1 me. I win, I get the card. I lose, I pay you 4 million.
Oh
would you
my Lord.
would you take that deal?
I don't know. That'd be such a gamble. I don't know. Like if he said like if he lost, or if I lost it would only be 1 million, then maybe. But like for $2 million, like that's too much
Yeah,
of a game. That's way too much,
too much. Yeah,
you know. It'd still be a wild experience.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Well, man, it's been incredible talking to you. Like this is just, I'm still just like beside myself. Like I can only imagine how you're feeling. I'm like, you had, I didn't even buy any of the Lord of the Rings booster packs, but it's still just like so exciting to me that it
Oh yeah.
happened. And um, it happened to like such a great guy. Like he seems so like just genuine and cool and um, fun to hang out with and play Magic with. So
Well, I
um,
appreciate.
just really incredible story, man, for real. So
Yeah. Well, message me and I'll add you to Arena. Maybe I think I still have some Brawl decks. I do.
okay,
Yeah. I got
yeah,
an
that'd
elf
be
deck.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, dude, we won't take any more of your time. Anything that you want to say on record for the people as we close out?
I, Honestly, I just want to say thanks for having me on here. Like, I really appreciate it. I love all the positivity that's come from this. Like, everyone, like the whole community, everything just been so nice and positive and humble. Like, I did not expect at least half of this. Like, it's been such an incredible story, and everyone has just been so supportive, and I love it. Thank
It's
you.
awesome. It's awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, that's the interview.